Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation on Christmas.
Christmas.
It is, yeah.
I like it.
I'm Greg.
I'm Rachel.
Rachel. Rich.
I don't know if that works because I guess
I don't actually know how it shows.
Recording.
It's different for every person, so
yeah.
Let's just make
I was like, you're pointing at things that.
To the comments. I'm in the comments section.
Yeah, Scott's currently on the drive to Chicago with his daughter to get a visa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere you want to be.
I love it.
It is.
Yeah, that's so you can be wherever you want to be.
It's our United service this week, which is 4 or 5 times a year. We get all of our Corner Church communities and service times together for one celebratory service where we pack way too much into the Sunday.
We try.
And this one is more packed than ever. So we will be having church from 6:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. at night. That's what it feels like.
Well, and there's a Christmas party that night, so we'll be together from like 6:30 a.m. until about midnight.
Everything I ever wanted.
We're gonna love each other so much by the time the day's over. It'll be fine.
The good news is at least Rachel will play the music fast.
You need to stop. Gregory. I'm gonna call you Gregory from now on when I'm like no more.
Fine. I don't respond to Gregory's.
I know, but it makes me feel a little better. It's not true. Okay, I had a question this morning. I thought it was gonna just be Greg and I this morning because I was thinking.
No, it's next week.
Yeah, that's like I was like, is
well,
it just
it's not
us?
gonna be.
No, it's.
Yeah, it'll be the three of us. It'll still be the three of us, just a different three of us. Okay, so there'll be. Okay, it doesn't matter. So I had a question. When did you guys start doing the podcast? Do you remember? Was it just you and Scott, or was it you, Scott, and Zach?
I think it was Zach.
Okay. I was trying to because I thought it was just the two of us. So I was like, what was a 2-person?
It was once we had the space in Camden where it was quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't right at the beginning of Camden either, I don't think. But you could go back.
Yeah, we could. We could go to the beginning.
Listen to the early ones.
The first Corner Church podcast.
I don't even remember what it was.
Season 1, episode 1?
Season 1. We're still in season 1.
We should change every year. We should just change our seasons so we can. I don't know what it means, but or season 1, 300.
Yeah. The overwhelming theme. I could be wrong. The overwhelming theme of Christmas is this idea of hope or anticipation of hope. What?
The overwhelming thing. I could be wrong. Well, the overwhelming thing.
Humility. Started with humility. I like it.
I feel like I typically come across certain opinions. So
No.
I try to drop those.
No.
I try to drop those I could be wrong lines in to make everyone else feel okay.
I bet it does. It helps me.
Even though in my head I go, I'm lying right
No. That doesn't help. That takes it away.
Oh,
It
This
ruins
is going
it.
to be a good episode.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my.
yes, hope. And so when was the last time you were really hopeful for something?
Hopeful.
It doesn't even have to be a big thing. Like
Last night, went to the Camp Lebanon Christmas party. I don't work there anymore, but Anna does, so I still get to be a part of it. And the board of camp always gives, since I worked there, gave the same gift every year to the staff. And I was so hopeful that it would be the same this year, and it was.
it was.
Yep.
How are you gonna say it wasn't?
$50 in meat from Paul and Kathy's.
Oh.
But it's just a gift certificate, so I get to go pick what brats I want.
Whatever you
That's pretty
want.
fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. What did you get?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were almost.
You're
They close
thinking.
early. It's in the little town.
I'm sorry.
But we have it for next time.
So
That's
we've heard
exciting.
Rich's story of actually getting what he hoped for, and now he's going to share a story of not getting what he hoped for.
Do you want to do this for the podcast?
We also played This Happens Every Year.
Oh, this
too.
is not what I thought.
Oh, you're right. I should tell that story.
I was going to go to deep.
Greg and
the
I,
painful one.
actually, everyone in this podcast likes tacos and likes tasty food. And there was a new taco place that opened up right by Uptown. So one day during their soft launch week, where we thought, oh, they opened at noon, or 11 or whatever it was. This will be great. Let's go get food. Greg and I walked from Uptown
Oh man.
to La Bodega, to get food and street corn with flaming hot Cheeto crunched up in it. So excited. Walked down there, found out that
The door was open. We walked in.
yeah, and they said, "Oh, we don't open until 4 today."
Heartbreak.
It went beyond that. I think it was a soul rending because I was so ready.
It's really tough when you get so hyped up for something. Like I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but Kelsey, I probably told you guys, but Kelsey in high school, all she wanted was a longboard. Like senior year of high school, that's what she wanted for Christmas.
Mhm.
Give me a longboard, I want a longboard. And opens up all our Christmas presents, no longboard. So a little bummed. And then her mom goes, "We have one more present that was really
Oh, no.
awkward that we couldn't wrap." And Kelsey's like, "It's happening. I'm getting my longboard."
Oh, no.
And they come downstairs with the printer.
That breaks my heart. My stepdad, when I was a kid, was like, he's not like the best gift giver. And so he was really excited one year for this present that he got. And like, I mean, he got one. He's like, I got the same thing for all the girls. And it's so, I mean, he hyped it up. And it was a razor. It was like
One razor for all
Like-
the girls?
no, 4 razors, but it was, everyone got their own, but it was like it was a razor to shave your legs. And he was excited because of the type of metal that was in
Oh,
the blade. But like,
Nice.
you're 17, and I didn't care. I was not excited, but he was very excited about
Yes.
it.
it can
That
kind
was
of feel sometimes that hope is only worth having if it works out,
Yeah.
which can be pretty
No,
intense.
that's hard.
Especially
Because
when you're, like,
disappointment is like,
yeah,
I don't
bring
know.
it to-
maybe you find out when it's too late. So
Which is even worse. Maybe.
Oh no.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's,
I don't know.
Still sad about that corn.
He's like corn.
Which is like I can never be more.
When I was like a few years ago, I was working on opening up like a youth center that was through Treehouse, and like part of their motto is ending hopelessness in teens, because like just what hopelessness does in people's lives. And it's not like just disappointment, but when you have hope in nothing, and just it is disappointment, but there's also despair and like just nothing to live for. And just how, I don't know, like hopelessness is, I don't know, is hopelessness, like no hope at all, worse than hope that doesn't come true and disappointment?
No, I think hope is a huge motivator.
Yeah.
I think most things you've tried in your life, they never actually turn out like you think they
Yeah,
are.
that's true.
And that doesn't make the having hope for what could be invaluable.
Hmm.
I think you just reset expectations.
Yeah, life's more fun when you have hope. And then at the end, maybe it's, well, not the end of life, but you have hope for something and then it isn't there.
Yeah.
Rather
Or it's
than
not what you
being
expect,
hopeless
or
and then
never having something to strive for or think could be. Yeah, that's pretty awful.
If you knew it was going to be exactly what you hoped for, it may not be hope anymore. Like it may be something.
Yeah, because it's there. It's
Right.
not like putting your faith in something. Like part of hope is having the faith
Hope-
for what
hope.
could be.
hope requires not knowing.
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of like a better. I think sometimes these concepts can be hard to wrap your head around when you're thinking of like relationship with God or faith, and so so relationship requires hope, right? Like you guys, we all know our spouses so well, but there's still a level of hope involved with that. Like
Mhm.
I hope they actually are everything that I think they are, or that they'll stay committed, or all these different things. And so there's that level of, while the uncertainty may be so minimal, there is always that level which requires some level of hope. And so I think, and I also would, I don't know if put words in your mouth, but for me, my relationship with my wife is not what I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Not 100% of what I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
There are some things that I knew would be, and some things that I thought, and that they're different, and some things that are better. But that doesn't make like the hope of that early relationship hope, or the hope that I have now, doesn't mean it was misplaced. It just means it it was like what motivated the hope for those things, even if they're not fulfilled, which was the motivating force for goodness in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same is for faith. It's like, we don't know. Like we don't know that there's anyone that acts certain about faith things is probably not just fooling the people around them, probably also fooling themselves.
I think you can be certain that you have faith, but have faith you can't know you have faith. So your faith is certain, but that includes uncertainty.
Is there utility of hope beyond like a motivating force, like to action or inaction or something? Like what is the pure? This is probably the most great question ever. But
Yeah,
what's the
because
absolute
it's kind
utility
of
hope?
interesting because it's like I would
What's the
not
point?
have thought of hope as just motivation, like because sometimes I feel like hope is outside of myself. Like I can hope for something. I can hope for
Outside of myself.
well.
I'm just trying to understand.
I like that. Outside of myself, no. Like I hope
Like the world has hope.
Well, like, no, I mean, like, in my relationship with my husband, right? Like, I can have hope for who he is or who he become, but I don't really have control over that.
What's the control aspect?
Like, I'm hopeful for our relationship. I have control over my parts, but I can't force him to behave a certain way or do a certain thing.
Does your hope for your relationship, is it affected by trying to wrap my head around that a little bit, because like I think like having kids is a good example for Kelsey and I's relationship. I would love to have kids, but Kelsey doesn't want them, and so her feelings or actions towards that shouldn't affect my hope for our relationship.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. But it is not. I don't think that's the default either.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think it is.
Like I think that to maintain hope even when things change is actually shows the value of hope. Like it's the motivator of those things. And so like I guess your hope for your husband, is that contingent on what he does? Is there
I mean, no, because I think the hope is like still there no matter what happens or he does. I mean, I have a good husband, so it's kind of a hard like.
And I think there's always things that can break relationship.
Yeah, like we talked.
Like, I just think overall, like I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea that hope for something can be contingent on another person besides just me.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it's like it's not like it's just contingent, but it's like I choose hope. So maybe I misunderstood like hope as a motivation, but like I think like this summer when we were talking about when we were at the cabin, we were talking about some of the future just maybe it was Genesis or when we were talking about relationship, and it was like we talked a little bit about what happens when a relationship does break. Do you still have hope for that relationship? If your spouse is unfaithful or your spouse is hurtful or your spouse is like, you might still have hope that that person can change, but at some point, sometimes, so maybe it is contingent. Like at some point you go, okay, should I still have hope?
Well, I think you can walk away from an unhealthy relationship and still have hope.
For them.
Then.
Yeah. I think so too.
But maybe there's this like hope for me.
Hope for the relationship that changes.
The part that I'm connected with that you do give up. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that complexity of like how you feel putting yourself in those shoes that hopefully none of us ever have to put ourselves in.
For sure.
That is the
hopefully.
I think that's the reality of like God's hope for humanity though. Is like I think he's wrestling with that tension. Like he has unlimited hope for every person. And at the same time feels so conflicted when people choose to not participate in a relationship with him.
It's Hosea, like that bad marriage, like we talked about, like in the book of Hosea, and being fully committed, even though we're often not fully committed, and hope and faith that we're going to be the people he created us to be. And yet over and over again, we fail at that.
The really important part for me when I talk about hope as a motivator is because I think hope is the motivating work of God in the lives of people around us. Like, I think God works in the lives of people that don't know him, and
absolutely, yeah,
he wants to know them. And I think that why would God invest any time in somebody that says, screw you, I don't need you, I don't believe in you, all these things? It's because God has hope. And so it's the motivator in the lives of people. And so when I see God at work in the lives of people doing really good work that may say that they don't know Jesus, I'm like, oh man, the work that you're doing is actually God's work, and he's working in you through that process, and that's full of hope.
Yeah,
it's full of hope. It's full of God's hope for humanity. And so I think we can get really stuck in this idea of like, even the Christmas season, you get really stuck in this belief that humans need Jesus to fix the relationship between us and God, which is true. And you can look at this entire Christmas season and be like, well, I guess because of Jesus, we can have hope that we can be redeemed. And it's so self-focused. But like, what if the story is actually, no, God has so much hope for humanity that he was motivated to send his son Jesus to die on the cross so that relationship is available. Like, hope is a motivator for God to have a relationship with us. Hope of what we are, hope of what we can be, hope of what we can do. I don't know, I just feel like that is way more motivating than just continuing to tell people that they're bad and they need something. Right. God doesn't see us that way.
So, like, when you said that, because, like, this week we're talking in Advent, we talk about peace, which is funny because last week we did talk about hope. So we could have flopped these messages a little bit, but like shalom though, like not just like it was when I was reading about peace, it was like, you know, like we think about peace treaties, you know, it's like two countries agreeing not to fight and suddenly they have peace, or not, maybe they don't have peace, but like it's like the removal of conflict. But then they talked about shalom is not just the removal of conflict, but it's this complete wholeness. And it's like this idea, like if you had two rivals fighting, and instead of fighting, they didn't just stop fighting, but they actually worked together to benefit each other. And like when we are seeking peace and wholeness, like it's like when our lives are out of alignment, and there's like shalom is like this wholeness and wishing and hoping for wholeness and completeness in our lives and our relationships. And I was just like, you know, like in the Old Testament, it talked about, like, I think it was Isaiah 9, where they talked about Jesus is like, they'll send a Prince of Peace. And Jesus being born was that fulfillment of the Prince of Peace. But it wasn't just peace on earth and everybody's happy, but it was shalom. Like relationships are made whole, they're restored, they're brought together, people are brought together. And thinking about Jesus as the Prince of Peace, Jesus bringing wholeness to the world, and hope working outside of just relationship with Jesus, like in people's lives who aren't necessarily following Jesus. Like there is still, I don't know, I'm not really saying this clearly, but like there's still like this shalom, this peace, this hope, this wholeness that is like impacted the world. Like it's more than just us. Like even in John, when it talks about, when we go back to the beginning of chapter 2, where we kept repeating, like, you know, we're not supposed to sin, but if we do, we have an advocate. But the advocate's not just for us, it's for the world. And I don't know, it just makes me go, okay, so like, obviously there's still brokenness. Obviously there's still, you know, pieces that aren't whole. But if we think of Jesus as the Prince of Peace and wholeness and bringing hope for the whole world in relationship with Jesus or not, what could be, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's heretical. I can't even say the word, but I'm just thinking, so don't, you know, judge me because I'm mid thought.
Yeah. Well, peace being just the absence of conflict doesn't actually.
It's that sweeping of it's the Midwest piece, you know, you sweep it under the rug, pretend everything's okay.
Yeah. And I think it's important that it starts individually. Like peace within me can't just be sweeping things under the rug. It has to be something chosen that is practiced and that we get better at over time. I can think of many moments in my life where peace was unattainable, and as I've gotten better at being aware of like what it means to have peace in life, I think part of it is you just get older and you get calmer and you're able to think through things more clearly. But other times too, it's inviting God to participate, and peace is so much easier when hope is involved.
Right? Yeah.
Because I don't think, maybe I'm fooling myself, but the idea that tomorrow peace could be a practice or participated in for everybody in my neighborhood.
Yeah, wholeness in our communities
is probably not a reality, but I do think we see flares of it, moments of it, and those are the moments of like eternity. Those are the moments of heaven coming to earth where God's at work. Those are the things that we should definitely be aware of and celebrate. But
I like that. It's Christmas. Do you got to wrap up?
I mean, I think the combination of those two things, hope and peace, that's it. Like, hope is the motivator towards shalom, which true shalom is the end all be all, right?
Yeah.
Is everyone together for a purpose. But then the motivation of hope brings people to action towards relationship, towards peace. So it works together well. But I'm gonna sit on it for the rest of the week, probably. Just the idea of hope as the stepping stone, not the end all, is really interesting. So I think that's it. You guys can sit on it and put it in the crock pot this week too.
Yeah. Have hope.